Hey everyone, Emily Collins here. So today we're going to be going through a practice that's going to be building a lot of heat and energy and really focusing on this concept of being northbound. So if you look at any typical flat map or even a globe, typically when we think of north, it's going up, maybe in another aspect going forward. And I think a lot of times right now with everything going on, people are having a hard time having the sense of moving forward. We feel a little stuck. Maybe some energy is just getting congested. And how to kind of get that starting to move forward with this sense of moving in a direction that you want to go, whether that's energetically or spiritually or physically or any real aspect of your life that you want to move forward. Does it have to be in your career, or does it have to be in your relationship, or does it have to be just all internal? And how we could kind of start to get a sense of that without even despite sometimes feeling stuck in an environment around us, how we could still feel this energy of moving forward in our lives without perhaps physically having this moving forward. So we're going to start in a seated position. Actually, we're going to start on our backs today. So getting really comfortable before we get started. If you have a strap or even like an exercise band or anything like that will work really well. If you have something like that on hand, that would be useful. So just laying back, getting really comfortable. If you want to have your legs open with pillows underneath your knees, that might be a really nice supportive way to start. Hands either resting outward to kind of receive some energy, or just settling down into your body to help ground you today, whatever is really most energetically calling for you. And just starting to really settle in to the sensations that your body is bringing forward. Taking big, easy breaths. Slowly starting to allow anything that's holding tension to just relax a little bit deeper. Settling downward. Feeling the shoulders relax back. Feeling the neck melt into the mats. Any tension in your face, just letting that go. Just really breathing into the space, filling up really big with a really big inhale. Holding at the top for 3 seconds. And then letting it go, big exhale. Holding at the bottom for 3 seconds. Big inhale all the way to the top. Holding for 3 seconds. And then nice slow exhale all the way to the bottom. Holding for 3 seconds there. One more big inhale all the way to the top. Holding once more for 3 seconds. And then big exhale, letting that go. Holding at the bottom for 3 seconds. And then just beginning to allow yourself to come back to your natural breath, really nice and easy here. Again, just settling downward, no tension, or if you sense any tension, just allowing your breath to slowly ease it away. Noticing if your thoughts are perhaps straying one direction or the next. And seeing if you could guide them back to this one place. Because despite thoughts moving one direction, we may not be needing to go that direction. So just coming back nice and easy. And just playing with a quick visualization, imagining what it would look like with no external circumstances to invade the direction you'd like to go or to interfere. What would it look like to be able to move forward in any direction you wish to go northbound, so to speak, to move forward? What does it look like to you? Perhaps career-wise or traveling or being able to reach internal goals, spiritual goals. What does that look like? And to have no external interference, to just be able to move freely in that direction. What sort of energy seems to come up when you ponder and contemplate that? How does it make you feel? What sort of sensations? Maybe even going far enough to notice what colors or what scents might start to appear. If you're imagining travel or spiritual direction, perhaps there's certain physical feelings, perhaps there's certain sense of food or something that brings a lot of life inside of you. And maybe you could start to bring all of that together into one powerful image. And as you do so, starting to bring your hands together and just giving a nice, easy, gentle rub here. Starting nice and slow, taking all of that imagery, if you had any, just bringing it together. As you start to rub your hands faster and faster together, starting to imagine all of that imagery, all of those senses just growing larger and larger, really filling up within your hands. And continuing to rub, building that energy as it gets stronger. That freedom of being able to move forward, moving in the direction that you wish to go, without interference, without anything stopping you. What that feels like, what it smells like, what it tastes like, all of that coming together. And slowly bringing that all the way directly to your heart, planting your hands downward. Taking a big breath here in. Big exhale. Another big inhale. Big exhale. One more big inhale. Big exhale, releasing your hands downward. Pulling your knees in and just giving a really big squeeze here. Rocking side to side, releasing your spine. Waking up a little bit here, maybe allowing your eyelids to flutter open as you start to bring life back to this present state where you are now. And slowly we're going to gently guide ourselves all the way up to a seated position. Really nice and easy here. With our legs extended all the way forward, coming into Dandasana staff pose. Planting our hands back, pulling our shoulders backward. Inhale, pulling our hands to the sky. Exhale, folding forward here. And just maybe rocking it out nice and easy here. Starting to feel that spine awake, maybe playing with little movements in your spine. Just really listening into a pose that can maybe seem a little stagnant, playing with some movement here to really find a place that really is needed in your body. Slowly starting to rise up. We're going to take our right foot and bring it all the way just directly in, planting it in towards our left thigh. Again, inhaling as our hands lift all the way to the sky. Exhale, folding forward. Again, maybe rocking it out side to side. Inhale, halfway lift, starting to play with that movement in your spine. Exhale, folding. Inhale, halfway lift once more. Exhale, folding. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we're just slowly start to rise up and lean all the way back once more. This time with that foot coming with you. If your right leg feels comfortable bent, then leave it there. If not, then extending it outward. Here's this nice place for the strap if you have one, but if you don't, just feel free to use your hands as if they were a strap as far as that's comfortable. If you do have a strap, wrapping around your foot or calf and just starting to play with this motion of pulling downward. You'll notice if you still have your right leg bent, you're starting to feel that a little bit in that inner thigh and in your hip there, just opening up a little bit more. So here just playing with pulling in and releasing. On each inhale, extending all the way up. On each exhale, bending in a little bit closer. Each inhale, extending up. Each exhale, bending a little closer. One more time like that. Inhale, extending up. Exhale, bending closer. Inhale up, and then slowly starting to allow that leg to fall open again. Notice if there's too much tension here and extending that leg outward if you do feel that. So as your leg comes out here, just really playing with how much motion feels good. Again, any tension, little bend in the knees will really help support yourself there. Just breathing nice and easy, not holding too much tension in your arms. If you could let go of that despite still holding your leg up with that weight. One more breath on this side. Then slowly starting to release all the way to the other side. Obviously I have a little window here, so maybe scooting over if you need a little extra space and just allowing your hips to open up on this side. Big easy breath here. One more breath on this side. Big exhale. And then slowly bring it all the way up. One more nice pull in. And then as you release, taking that strap off and slowly rising to a seated position, keeping that leg bent or pulling it back in if it isn't bent anymore, and starting to plant it right on that right leg there. From here, again, inhaling up, exhale, folding forward, just as far as is comfortable. If you're living in a tighter body today, you might notice you're not leaning forward as far as you might feel you could, and that's okay. Just listening to what feels best here. Again, inhale, halfway left, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway left, exhale, fold. One more time, inhale, halfway left, exhale, fold. Rising up one more time, this time just a little bit deepening into extension here if you want to fold this leg underneath if that feels good. You could also plant this right foot just right in front if that's not feeling too good here. So starting to just open up here. As we sit here, reaching your hands to the sky, exhale, folding. And then again, just playing with a little movement here. We're going to slowly start to rise up. If you want to release that, if you're feeling a lot of tension there, we're staying there. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky. We're going to start to bend this right arm down and playing with pulling this left arm back. Nice and easy. Just little slingshotting movements here. Slowly starting to bring it all the way back. If your hands are reached, go for it. If you want to clasp them, if you want to leave them unbound and just reaching for each other, doing that. Just breathing into the space, releasing your shoulders here. Big, easy breaths. And then releasing all the way out. We're going to exchange it out, extending this right leg out, pulling this left leg in. And starting with a big inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway left. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway left. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway left once more. Exhale, fold. Just breathing into the space. And slowly we're just going to rise all the way up and lean all the way back. Lean back once more. Again, if you want to keep this left leg folded or extended out, whichever feels better. Otherwise, starting to lift that right leg as you lay back. If you have that strap, again, wrapping that around your foot or maybe one of those little resistance bands or anything like that will be good for this. Otherwise, having a strap or just using your hands is perfectly fine too, which I love doing as well. So whichever feels best for you here. Just starting to play with pulling into this leg, breathing into the space a little, noticing what feels good, what might not be feeling so good here. Inhale, extending all the way up. Exhale, starting to fold a little. Inhale, extending all the way up. Exhale, folding a little. Once more, inhale up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale all the way up, and again, this time extend that leg all the way up to the right. If you have anything there, you might need to scoot over a little bit. Just breathing into the space. It can also assist you if you want to just kind of restoratively rest into those. Otherwise, kind of moving away from that as much as you can might help. So just breathing into the space here. Again, if you're only using your arm, that's totally fine too, to just hold on to your leg and release it outward. Just breathe into this for 2 more breaths. Then slowly starting to rise, and again folding over to the opposite side here, and using that strap to aid. It's almost like a little supine twist here, except not too much with the spine, so just breathing into the space. 2 more big breaths here. Slowly starting to rise all the way back up, releasing here a little bit, maybe playing with one more pull. Before slowly starting to rise up, using that core to just rock up. And then from here, starting to place that foot directly on here. So from here, lift your hands to the sky, exhale, folding. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold. Yeah, just big, easy breaths here. Slowly starting to rise. If you want to deepen it a little bit, either staying there or starting to fold that leg underneath the right leg, planting the left on top. If there's any space here, you could shove a little pillow or anything like that. Inhale as you reach to the sky, exhale, folding. Just breathing into the space, not forcing any deeper than feels good here. Big, easy breaths. 2 more breaths here. And slowly starting to rise again. If this isn't feeling too good, feel free to kind of bind that there. Then starting to reach that left hand all the way up and scraping it back down your back like you have a little itch there. Starting to play with that right arm coming out and just flaring backward, nice and easy here. Maybe starting to come up with that right arm. Noticing here, maybe there's a difference in sensation here. Maybe on this side for me it's a little bit tighter, so maybe for you here it's the same. You grab onto some hair or slowly start to bind those hands. For me, I could barely catch a finger on this side, so breathing into the space for a few breaths, just as far as is comfortable. And then big release on kind of crossing those legs and shaking them out a little bit here. One more big inhale, reaching the sky. Big exhale, folding forward. You're slowly inhale, rising all the way up, recrossing those legs and just slowly rocking over onto our hands and knees, coming into tabletop pose here. So just rocking it out a little bit. We're going to feel some nice motions here. Anything with the spine that feels good. Just kind of unwinding a little bit here, rocking it out. So starting to maybe expand as your breath gets bigger. Maybe playing with a little bit deeper motion here. Taking a really big inhale as we come up for cow. Exhale as you push the mat away for cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Inhale once more for cow. Exhale for cat. Come back to a neutral tabletop pose here, just rocking it out nice and easy. Again, maybe as your breath starts to get a little bit bigger, just starting to play with a little bit deepening here. Just coming into slightly bigger movements. Anything just for a couple more breaths, that feels really good here. Sitting back on our heels, just coming to one nice neutral pose. If you want to stretch in those feet a little bit, you could tuck your back toes. Just coming back to a neutral place here. It's whatever feels best. Big, easy breaths. Just noticing what might be coming up from that energy, that imagery that we had thought of earlier. Is it still there? Is it starting to vanish a little bit? What you can do to bring it back. And maybe beginning to awake your Ujjayi breath here, that slight constriction in your throat. If you haven't done Ujjayi breath before, you can start to play with it by imagining breathing out with your mouth open as if you were about to fog up a glass. Just play with that a couple times, breathing out like you're fogging up a glass, noticing that slight constriction in your throat as you do so. This time on your breath in, starting to notice that same sensation, that constriction in your throat. And then closing your mouth, starting to have that same sensation as you breathe in through your nose, that slight constriction in the back of your throat. You might notice a deeper sound or texture than your usual breath. Ujjayi breath is designed to continue generating heat in the body, which we need a lot for this practice. So noticing if you could continue that breath through practice or even just in occasional moments might help. So taking a big inhale, raising those hands overhead, maybe still focusing on that Ujjayi breath. And then big folding all the way, coming back to that neutral tabletop pose. We're going to tuck those back toes, lift those hips, coming up into a nice big down dog here. Just taking a few breaths to rock it out side to side. Maybe bring those hips with you. Bend one leg or the other, really breathing into the space. Big, easy breaths. Inhale, we're going to rise all the way up on those toes. Exhale, we're going to fold back down. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, folding back down. Once more, inhale, rising up. Exhale, shifting back down. We're going to inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, bend those knees and walk all the way tippy toes to the very top of your mat. Extra slow here. Just folding forward, rocking it out side to side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising up, wander everything all the way to the sky. Bring those hands to touch. And then folding them all the way back. Catching behind you, binding if that feels good. Either staying there or slowly starting to fold forward. Breathing deeply into the space, into your shoulders, trying to release any tension here. And slowly releasing those hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift once more. Exhale, fold, step it back to your high plank. Hanging out here for a breath. Just really breathing into the space, engaging here. Dropping those knees to the ground, pinning those elbows and lowering all the way down in one piece. Inhale, low cobra. Feeling that out in your spine, maybe little movements here. Exhale, folding back down. Inhale, maybe full cobra here, reaching all the way up with your hips still reaching on the ground. Again, maybe playing with a little side-to-side movement here to release your neck and your spine. Exhale, folding back down. Then tucking those back toes, lifting it all the way back, straight away down dog. Again, bending one leg or the other, big breaths here. We're going to inhale, reaching that right leg all the way to the sky, squaring off those hips first before nice and easy releasing out, maybe doing some circles as you stack your hips. Exhale, knee to nose, step it through, actually kicking this right foot all the way to the outside right edge of your hand, and just hanging out here for a breath, really breathing into this space, sinking down into your hips, releasing your hips a little bit more, and then dropping that back knee. Playing with some little motion here. Maybe starting to come down onto your forearms to release into this pose a little bit. Big, easy breaths here. And slowly starting to rise back up. And then just walking that foot all the way over, all the way to the far left side of your mat. So from here, sinking back. Maybe giving your foot a little massage here, playing with anything that feels good. Just shifting back into this motion here as you stretch into that calf. You can rock your foot over to the right, just feeling what feels different here. Then slowly shifting forward, wiggling that foot all the way back to center, re-lifting that back knee. Just maybe stepping in and ever so slightly as you rise all the way up, coming into high crescent. Breathing big and deep into this space. Again, we're going to start to fold that right arm all the way back, opening that left one out once more, coming into Gomukhasana, arms reaching back here. Big breath. And then releasing, we're going to open all the way straight away into your warrior two. So playing here with this movement, engaging those arms outward as you gaze out over that front hand, checking in with your alignment, your front heel in line with your back arch. Again, just big, easy breaths here. Inhale as you reverse your warrior, guiding that back hand all the way back down your back leg. Exhale, starting to fold all the way forward here. Inhale, coming back to rise. Exhale, cartwheeling those hands to ground, stepping back to your high plank, and either dropping those knees first or going through your chaturanga. Inhaling for up dog. Exhale, right away down dog. As I'm inhaling that left leg all the way to the sky, first squaring off those hips before opening up here a little bit, maybe doing some circles or little motions that feel good. Then exhale, knee to nose, dropping that left foot all the way to the outside edge of your left hand. Staying lifted here for a moment, maybe allowing your hips to sink, noticing what feels different here. Before eventually dropping that back knee and just breathing into this space. Maybe staying lifted, maybe dropping down into your forearms, whatever feels good here. You can start to rock to the outside edge of your foot. Just breathing into this space. Slowly starting to rise up on your hands, shifting that foot all the way over to the far right edge of your mat. And just shifting back here, playing with how that feels. Maybe you're rocking to the outside edge of your foot or coming back center. Just noticing what feels different here as you fold over onto your calf. Just big, easy breaths, breathing into the space, relaxing into any tension. And slowly bring that foot back to center, folding back forward, tucking those back toes, lifting the back knee, and rising up once more to your high crescent here. Big, easy breaths. Starting to bring that left hand down once more. Bring this right hand, swinging it back nice and easy before finally catching back up. Again, either grabbing for hair, maybe your fingers. Big, easy breaths here. Then big release right away, coming into your warrior two. Again, checking in with your alignment here, front heel in line with that back arch. Feeling your arms extend strong outward despite your shoulders, perhaps relaxing down your back. Breathing into this space. Inhale, reversing your warrior. Exhale, folding all the way forward, extended side angle. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, cartwheel those hands to the ground, step it back, high plank once more. Hanging out here for a breath. Before going down, maybe through your vinyasa. We're dropping those knees first. All the way back down to down dog. Just coming back to your breath here for a moment. Breathing into the space, maybe rocking your hips that side to side, release a little bit here. Inhale that right leg all the way to the sky, open it up once more. Exhale, knee to nose all the way over to the outside right edge of your mat once more. And hanging out here for a breath, still lifted. Breathing into the space, maybe relaxing your hips downward, noticing if it's feeling a little deepening or different here. And then dropping that back knee. So here we're going to start to play with a little bit different of variation. If you're not in the mood, just hanging out here, dropping those forearms to the ground. If you want to start wiggling your hands outward and your right shoulder underneath that right leg, playing with how this feels here. Just noticing what it feels like, a little bit of a deepening in that right inner hip. You stay up on your fingers or planting those hands, whichever feels better here. Just big, easy breaths, seeing what feels better, shifting back or coming forward. Maybe for a little bit more deepening, lifting that back knee, engaging that back quad, really gripping into the mat here. Seeing what feels different. If you could rest even that right leg a little bit into that shoulder, deepening the pose altogether here. Eventually releasing down, bringing those hands back to center, shifting it all the way back, this time keeping that foot where it is, extending out into the calf this time in this form. Big easy breaths here. Slowly starting to shift forward, wiggling that foot back to center, tucking those back toes, and then right away coming all the way up here. Big easy breath. Inhaling as you come into warrior two, extending outward, checking in with that alignment. Inhale, reverse that warrior. Big breath here. And then slowly start to fold forward, extended side angle. Maybe this time playing with a little bit of shoulder extension here. You can start to rock that hand back, half binding, maybe full binding here. Big breath. Breathe into that space of your shoulders. Releasing, coming back to warrior two. Inhale as we lift up. Exhale, sinking back down. A little bit of engagement here. So inhale, lifting up. Exhale, sinking back down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, sinking back down. And then inhale, coming to center, big flying warrior. Exhale, shifting down into your goddess pose here. So trying to play with pulling those knees backward. Any gesture with your hands, maybe coming to heart center, just supporting in your hips here. Big breath, really engaging. And take a big inhale up. Exhale, coming back down and planting those hands directly onto your hips, coming into a little bit of a rocking side to side shoulder stretch, dropping one shoulder or the other. Breathing into space, using your hands to continue engaging in your legs and pushing those legs backward to open up in the hips. Not forcing anything that doesn't feel good, but just playing with this as a movement. Eventually coming back to center, lifting up one more time. Exhale, big fold, wide-legged forward fold here, rocking it out side to side. Then walking those hands all the way back to center, coming back to your low lunge here. Big breath. And from here, we're gonna actually, I pulled my foot back because I don't want to hit my face on my desk, but starting to rock all the way up, lifting that back leg into a half standing split. Trying to keep those hips square a little bit. Breathing into the space, really big. Any tension in that front leg, just bending in there. 2 more breaths here. Then dropping that back foot right next to the other. Rocking it side to side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up, one bird at a time. Bringing those hands to touch, and once more releasing them behind you. Bringing them bound. And either staying there, or perhaps slowly starting to fold forward. Releasing your shoulders. Noticing if this begins to feel a little bit easier as your shoulders wake up a little bit more. Releasing those hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, step it back to your high plank. Holding for a breath here, engaging deeply. Before again going through your vinyasa or skipping it, always option to skip, going straight to down dog. Big easy breath here. Inhale as you lift that left leg to the sky, squaring first and then opening up, a little bit of motion there. Exhale, knee to nose straight away, bringing it over to the left side. So again, hanging out for a breath here. Breathing into the space. Maybe playing with dropping those hips a little bit. And then dropping that back knee. So again here, if you're not in the mood to play with anything crazy, just staying here, going down on your forearms. If you want to start engaging in a little bit different variation of this pose, starting to play with bringing this left shoulder directly underneath here. And then this right arm out. Almost like a wide-armed cobra pose. So starting to really play with this, maybe sinking those hips downward, noticing how this feels different. Trying not to rest too much in the left leg, but allowing that leg to rest into the shoulder just a little bit to engage. To still engage, but to start to stretch into that shoulder a little bit. If you want to take it a little bit step further, maybe lifting that back knee and still hanging out here, engaging that back leg, holding up here. Maybe sinking down for a deeper stretch, just noticing what feels good, not forcing anything. One more big breath here. And then dropping that back knee, bring those hands back to center and just shifting back. Again, just folding over that leg, releasing here any tension that's being held on to that you notice. Then slowly starting to shift forward, bringing that foot back in towards center, tucking those back toes, and lifting all the way up straight away to your high crescent. Engaging here for a breath. So big breaths here. Right away, opening up to that warrior two. Checking in once more with your alignment here. Reversing that warrior, big breath. Exhale, coming all the way forward, extended side angle again. Maybe starting to flare that top arm back, folding over. Maybe half feet binding only. You're coming into a full bind if that feels good. Breathing into the space. And slowly lifting back to your warrior two. Coming right away to a flying warrior and shifting down into your goddess squat. So again, I'm going to turn around so I can actually see you. Coming back down into your goddess squat. Big breath here again. Maybe different arm positions on this side. Maybe bring the shoulders forward a little bit to release anything that feels really good here. Crossing one over the other. Eventually just settling into this pose. Inhale, slightly lifting up. Exhale, coming back down. Engaging here, pulling those knees back. Inhale once more, partially lifting up. Exhale, coming back down with those hands coming down with those legs. Again, playing with these little movements with your shoulder dropping one and the other if that feels good. Still trying to keep that engagement in your legs, using your hands to just increase the engagement and pull those shoulders out, or those thighs out a little bit deeper. Big breaths here. And then slowly coming up for a release, holding for one more breath. One big inhale, big exhale, lifting up, coming right, switch back around here. Coming all the way back down to a big wide-legged forward fold. Just rocking it out side to side here. And then slowly starting to reframe those hands next to that left foot. And engaging as you start to float that back foot upward, coming again into that half standing split on the opposite side here. So really big breaths, folding forward. One more big breath here. Then dropping that right foot next to the left, rocking it out a little bit here. Maybe shaking those hips out side to side, release a little bit. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale again, rising up one vertebra at a time, reaching those hands to the sky. Again, binding those hands behind you, either staying there or slowly starting to fold forward. Noticing any deepening in this stretch if you do. One more big breath here. And then nice and easy, releasing those hands to the ground. Stepping it all the way back to that high plank and hanging out here for a breath. Just really engaging, breathing into the space. And then either going through your vinyasa once more or just pushing it back to your down dog. From here, we're going to slowly start to walk our hands all the way back to meet our feet. Just calm down into a nice little squat here. Pulling those hands forward, coming up on our fingertips to release downward, relaxing. And then slowly, nice and easy, come into a seated position. So with our feet to touch, we're going to fold over nice and easy over our feet. Maybe binding those hands up beneath to clasp around your feet there, whichever feels best for you here. So slowly starting to rise here, so we're going to start to have a little bit of fun with this whole northbound concept. So starting to take either with this left foot extending outward or fold it in, whichever feels better for you here. We're going to start to catch this right foot into our arms here and just start to swing it side to side. So play with whichever variation with your foot feels better here. Just breathing into the space, starting to really waking up into that outer hip a little bit more. Big easy breaths here. Maybe starting to deepen a little bit, fully wrapping that foot into your elbow and catching your hands here if that feels good, or just playing with whatever variation felt best there. Big breathing here. And then this is a place where you could still use that resistance band or strap if you have it. So maybe starting to catch that right foot into your hand or into a strap and starting to extend it all the way outward. So starting to play with that, we're gonna actually start to play, we're first breathing into that space. So just seeing where this can take you, maybe holding it in your hand actually feels easier for you, whichever is best for you there. And then maybe starting to pull this leg so that it comes slightly back behind your right shoulder there a little bit. So just playing with noticing how that feels if you're using the strap or not. Maybe this left hand is coming to catch that outside right edge of your foot. Just breathing to the space. And then perhaps starting to come into a full compass here, extending this right hand downward and extending this right leg all the way straight out. Just kicking into this as far as is comfortable. Breathing into the space. Big easy breaths here. Eventually releasing. Again, just catching it out here. If that feels good, big breaths. Just releasing into that hip a little bit more. And maybe playing into it one more time again. That option for the strap is awesome to catch onto that foot and just start to play with this kind of same general motion, pulling that foot behind your shoulder a little bit and extending outward. Just noticing how you could feel different keeping it like that versus keeping it with your hand. You can either catch that big toe or reach with that outer foot there. Just noticing what feels different. Eventually releasing down, shaking it out just a little bit more. Just noticing where you were able to take this pose. And just noticing if any tension or judgment is coming up internally and what you could do to kind of release that sensation. Because the internal interferences can be just as toxic in a sense as the external ones. So just playing with what you can to notice and dismiss those without judgment. Slowly releasing that foot down. We're going to extend both legs out, shake it out a little bit there. And then pulling in this left foot, same thing here. Starting to catch this foot, just playing with swinging it out side to side. Big release here, rocking it out. Big breaths here. Maybe starting to extend a little bit deeper by folding that foot into your armpit and catching hands here. Playing with this breath a little bit. Maybe noticing if keeping that bottom foot bent is a little bit easier for you. Just big, easy breaths. Then either taking that band or just with your hands starting to extend that foot upward. Just playing with how that feels. Just noticing any tension that might arise. Just really listening to how your body's feeling in this pose. And then maybe taking it a step further, either grabbing the outside right edge of your foot and lifting up, or that big toe, and starting to pull back, pulling it onto your shoulder here. And then maybe extending all the way outward. Noticing how this feels compared to the other side. Just breathing in really big to the space. Any tension starting to release. Also, total option for that band or strap here to make this a little bit more accessible. That same sensation wrapping here. And just starting to release that handle, the left hand down as a little support stand there. Trying to extend that spine still, breathing into the space. Eventually releasing downward, catching in that leg once more, releasing a little bit. Noticing again any tension that may be arising. And then playing into it one more time, same thing. Starting to catch that foot, again, either fingers around that big toe or on the outer edge here. Lifting that foot to the sky as you start to wrap it around your shoulder. And notice here, maybe this side feels a little bit different than the other side. For me, it definitely does. So just breathing into this space. Or just coming back down here, releasing a little bit. And shaking it out, bringing those feet forward, big release here. Shaking those arms overhead, bringing one to the right, catching with your left. And the same thing, swinging out to the other side, releasing the shoulders a little bit. We're slowly start to come forward onto our hands and knees into a tabletop, swinging that spine around a little bit to release everything, coming back to a neutral place. Again, just really playing with whatever your body needs here to release, coming back to that Ujjayi breath perhaps, or starting to come back to a cooling breath instead. Just breathing naturally or blowing out with your mouth. Slowly, we're going to start to come all the way forward. And crossing that right arm under the left, coming into the little shoelace arms here, just releasing the face downward. Releasing the arms, maybe playing with the hands up or down, noticing which feels better for you. Maybe wiggling that spine out a little bit if you're feeling some tension there. And just taking some big, easy breaths as you release into this position. Appreciating your shoulders and body for what they're able to do. And slowly starting to untwist, switching it out with the left arm underneath the right, or whichever opposite way you had previously. Again, resting downward, taking big, easy breaths to release down. Slowly starting to unfold from this, rising all the way back up and just coming down to a nice easy position. Again, in Dandasana staff pose. Seated here, with your arms flared back, your shoulders pointing backward, big easy breaths here. Big inhale, reaching those hands to the sky. Big exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift once more. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, this time hanging up for just a little bit longer. Again, maybe some movement. Maybe at this point you're just looking for stillness. Slowly starting to rise up. We're going to pull this right leg in with us and cross it over the left. Catching around that right leg with your left hand, or maybe that left elbow, starting to twist open into half king of the fish pose. Breathing into this space. Maybe on each inhale, sitting up a little bit taller. Each exhale, folding a little bit deeper. 2 more times like that. Inhale, sitting up. Exhale, twisting. Inhale, rising. Exhale, twisting. Inhale, coming all the way back to the left and folding down here, maybe for a little bit of release for that spine. And then rising back up and switching it out. Right leg extending forward, pulling that left leg in, and wrapping that right arm around or that right elbow and shifting the left hand back. Maybe each inhale, sitting up a little taller. Each exhale, sinking a little deeper, rotating. Inhale, sitting up. Exhale, rotating. Inhale, sitting up once more. Exhale, rotating. And then coming back over to the right, shifting down for a little release here. And then all the way back to center. We're going to slowly start to shift downward. Pulling that right knee all the way in. Give it a big squeeze in towards your right armpit. And then slowly allow it to release over to the left. If you want a little calf stretch here, you can extend that foot out and grab it with your hand. If you're a little bit over all that extension, you can just leave it folded. Just big, easy breaths here, settling downward. Emphasizing more your shoulder coming to the mat rather than your knee, and not forcing anything more than it needs to be. Just big, easy breaths here. Slowly starting to pull that right knee all the way back in towards your right armpit, giving it a big squeeze there. Maybe extending it out for a quick calf stretch before releasing it down and switching out for the left. So big squeeze here, pulling in that left knee towards your left armpit here. Before slowly starting to fold it over to the right. Again, maybe catching that foot if you have room, or if you're just looking for a little added calf stretch, or just keeping it folded down. Again, emphasizing that shoulder coming to the ground more than your knee, and just using each breath to just release a little bit deeper here. Just big, easy, settling breaths. Slowly starting to pull that left knee back in towards your left armpit, giving it a big squeeze there. And then at this point, taking any last pose that's really calling for you. Maybe it's happy baby, maybe it's something else, but just really listening to your body here as you breathe into these spaces that are really calling for you. And eventually taking a really big squeeze, pulling those knees in towards center. Biggest breath to the top. And then big exhale, settling all the way outward to your Shavasana. So feeling the weight of your body settling downward. Your feet heavy. Your calves and your thighs heavy and weighing down. Your hips and your torso, your shoulders and chest. Your hands relaxing open and downward. Way to your neck, finding space in your jaw, relaxing, all the way to the very top of your head, melting deep into this mat, and the floor beneath you and any floor beneath that, all the way into the earth, like roots of a tree or whatever your favorite plant is, just digging deeper and deeper until you find your Shavasana. on your next breath, beginning to make it slightly more active. Noticing any sounds around you. Starting to just observe. Maybe finding some slight movement in your fingers or toes, or rocking your head side to side. Eventually pulling your knees all the way in towards center. Maybe falling to one side in fetal pose. And eventually slowly turning your eyes to a seated position. Your eyes still closed. Just coming back to your breath once more. Taking one big inhale. One big open mouth exhale. Big inhale, reaching your hands to the sky, palms to touch. Slow exhale, guiding your hands down past your third eye center, past your lips, and all the way to your heart. Feeling perhaps that energy re-sparked. That imagery and that visualization of where that energy can take you. When you're wishing to go in a direction forward, northbound, whatever it means to you spiritually, in your career, in your life, in your relationships, what it may take to come to a point of stillness when external influences are perhaps preventing you from moving forward, how you could take it internally to find a place to move forward, to find the energy to guide yourself in a positive direction. Just feeling what that may mean for you. Taking one more big inhale. One more big exhale. And namaste. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time.